Welcome back to Over Under here on the Near Post podcast, and we are finally doing a team. First up, 2004, 2005 Chelsea team, coached by Jose Mourinho. We're on a bit of a late night grind here. It's currently 11 p.m. How you getting on, Dermot?
I'm all good, lad. We're thinking of players there. We're thinking a few Chelsea players, and then just Pete came with it. It was just like, yeah, that 04-05 Chelsea team needs to be chatted about because great teams. I don't think it does get chatted about, but I don't think it gets chatted about enough. So
Yeah,
I do hate Chelsea. I'm just gonna get that out there. I don't like Chelsea, but I like a lot of the players on this team, and Prime Jose was an absolute don. So just thought we'd put a bit of respect on, like, we're a football
yeah.
channel, and this team is just such a unique team. I don't know why the way they played.
I think right when you talk about Premier League teams, people always think straight away Arsenal Invincibles, a couple of United teams,
Yeah,
98 team, or they talk about Man City, Liverpool getting
Centurions.
100 points or whatever. But this team, it's not even talked about. No, we're not saying whether it's overrated or underrated, but it's not even considered to be rated. Like, no one even mentions it, I feel, which is crazy because we're going to get into this team and had some mad players, like, and did get some mad accolades. Do you want to start off on this one? I think you've a couple of stats and stuff. So
Yeah, let's just go through the team, like the base of the team, the main sort of players start playing. So they had Czech in goals. They had Ferreira right back. They had mainly Terry and Carvalho at the back, but Gallas would slip in there sometimes. Then they might have Wayne Bridge or Gallas at left back, sort of thing. Then you
Glenn
got
Johnson, backup right back.
Yeah. Then you got Makaleli, Thiago was there, Lampard was there in the middle, Joe Cole was there. He could play further forward. Then you got Johnson up top. You got Robin. You got Duff. But then that was like a baby Drogba there. Was still banging in a few goals. That was kind of like the base of the team, and this team was just based off defense. Even though they could play ball, don't get me wrong, but 15 goals they conceded. 15, not 5-0, 1-5 in 38 Premier League games. That won't even, I don't even know what's close to that, but I can safely say that's not getting bet ever.
Yeah,
like, that's outrageous. I think as well they conceded something like six home goals, something like 6 goals at home. I think they had some sick record of, like, and let's just talk about their defensive record. Like, who are the main reasons why, Peter? Like, I think Makaleli is the biggest reason. The Makaleli role. There's literally a role named after this man. I think he's disrespected as well when you're talking about Prem all time.
Yeah, we'll get, like, looking at this team, even think Stamford Bridge, like, people talk about Old Trafford, Anfield, stuff like this being a fortress. This was on lock. You were not getting in. You know, even if you had the key, you weren't getting in. This was locked down completely.
Jose just keeps changing that lock.
Like you said, Makaleli, literally a whole role created after this guy. You talk about him in the Galacticos, he was unbelievable. But then talk about him at Chelsea's. Oh, yeah, he was there. Yeah, you don't think this guy was godlike. William Gallas and Terry, I think when they were partnered, unbelievable. Gallas could come out on the left. Wayne Bridge wasn't a bad backup. You know, you had obviously Pereira, then you had right backs there. Ferreira came from Porto.
Ferreira was a very solid player. I think he's slept on a bit as well. He was very, very, very good.
Even Glenn Johnson. You're thinking he's keeping Glenn Johnson out of the team. I know, I don't think him and Mourinho seen eye to eye too much, but Glenn Johnson, when people think about him, they look at maybe him washed up at the end of his Liverpool career at Stoke. But at Portsmouth, this guy was very, very good. Let's not forget that. And Petr Cech, for me, probably my best keeper I've seen in the Premier League. I don't think I've seen enough of Schmeichel in his prime, but for me, Petr Cech was the best keeper I've seen Premier League. Maybe top 5 world. Unbelievable on his day. John Terry, for me, best centre back in the Prem. Centre back in the Prem.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
With this team as well, they got 95 points, so well up there. They done a double as well. They won the League Cup that year as well, so they did do a double. It was their first league title in 50 years season, which just makes it well more impressive. Let's talk a bit about Mourinho back in these days, because look, we do rip the piss out of him now, but prime Mourinho was an absolute don, and this was prime Mourinho. I think he was just coming back. He was just off the back of that win with Porto in the Champions League, which was just a madness. Came in, and I think he said, "I'm the special one. I'm going to win the league," sort of thing, and that's what he did.
That's why I think, when I hear kids and people these days talking about Mourinho and they're not showing him enough respect, they're saying,
respect,
I don't know.
Respect.
I think these guys are better than him. I think all this, like, we can even Klopp. I just think Mourinho, to win that with Porto, and then to come to Chelsea and do it for 3 years,
do a double first season.
And even in Europe, they got very unlucky. We all know that game. I'm not going to say too much on it, but that little ghost goal. But they're so this is a sick team, sick manager at his absolute peak prowess. Just slept. I think it's because same way Man City, they got formed through money. It's kind of no one really wanted them.
Though, what I would say in Chelsea, they were still competing at a decent level before Abramovich came in. True. They weren't it's different to City. I think there's similarities. It's same but different sort of thing, because they were still challenging for top. They were still winning the odd cup here. You know what I mean? They were still a pretty decent club. Good, you know what I mean? They had good players, so it wasn't like it was start 0 to 100, but it was.
And we haven't even mentioned, Frank Lampard, one of the best midfielders England's ever seen, the Prem's ever seen.
We slate him as a manager because it's funny and it's true, but let's not forget I think he got the winning goal when he rounded the keeper at Bolton and tapped it in. That was kind of what sealed it for them. He was sick. And
another player, Joe Cole, unbelievable. This guy just
What a player.
I think because he never really was phenomenal with England, like a lot of these players were. He doesn't get enough credit because
so skilled, so talented.
Ian Robin, do we need to say anymore? One of the best wingers ever. Consistently done it for 10, 15 years.
And then you got Duff there. Duff at the time was excellent. I know he's not really a household name sort of thing, but Duff
Irish
was
bias.
Don't even think it is Irish bias though, because Duff as part of that team was quite good. Then Baby Drogba, Good Johnson. I think their top scorer was Good Johnson at 13, and then it was Drogba 10. They had a few go 7 or Lampard 10, 12 as well. So the goals are spread out, which I think is a good sign. You see that nowadays with City as well. They don't have an absolute stand-up man to get the goals. They're just shared out. But to be honest, they only needed one goal a game, more or less, because
that defense.
If you went 1-0 down to Chelsea, just it's game over. Just give it up. I think that 15 goals conceded, 6 at home, is a joke.
Yeah, you're thinking about this, right? It's at the same sort of time in around Invincibles, that Arsenal team. Arsene Wenger, one of the best coaches Prem has seen, best coaches the world has seen, and they just shown they were bosses that year. Absolute bosses. No one could get near them. Jose, this guy needs some respect. I know he is starting to ruin himself a bit the last few years because he's been living off them glory days. It's like one of them kids who's sick in secondary or sick in college, and he lives off.
He scored 4-6 in the under. Yeah, we know
under 13 game, but
lads, the amount of goals they got in the back. But Mourinho was different gravy, I think. But we're just talking this team in particular, because they conceded so little goals. People would think they weren't the best going forward. Oh, they could play ball. They could, as we said, Robin, Duff, Good Johnson. Good Johnson was a very good player as well. They were just so well set up. They were kind of, and I think what makes it impressive, we mentioned the first title in 50 years. That's big because there would have been a lot of pressure on them. You know what I mean? As the run went in, I know that it was comfortable for them, but it's not like these were lads who had won titles before, sort of thing. To win your first title, 95 points. Wow.
And they probably could have won that. I know I'd say AC would have better, but like if they could have got to a Champions League final.
Would have done a treble
quite easily. But I just said we had to pick this team when we were chatting. We were talking about the players that were on this team, like Carvalho, Petr Cech, a couple of these guys. I was like, wait, that team was sick. Why is that not spoken about? So we had to pay a bit of homage.
Facts.
I think it's very, very obvious what our verdicts are going to be, but I had to pay some homage to this team, to that manager, to the whole system. Like you said, you're not a big Chelsea fan, but you have to respect this team.
Such a solid. I think as well. I actually enjoy Simeone, like defensive masterclasses when like it's not just parking the bus sort of thing. Like there's a difference. Like they have a plan once they get the ball sort of thing. Even though they dominate loads of games themselves, but like I was only a young lad watching this team, but this was just the start of Chelsea. And Carvalho and Terry, probably the best. I think it's the best Premier League partnership. I know people say Vidic and Rio. Maybe that's controversial, but I think Carvalho and Terry was right up there, sort of thing, along with Cech.
And it's a fact, I think Carvalho only played like 22 games that year in the Prem. That's how good it was. Like you just whip Gallas in there whenever he wanted. Wow.
Yeah, Gallas was quality as well. But we're going to round it up there. I think. Do we even need to say it? I'll go first anyways. Actually, I'll ask you before we do our verdict. Was this better than Arsenal's Invincibles?
Yeah. I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm going to say to go invincible in the season is the greatest.
No, yes or no. I want a yes or no. Get off that fence, lad.
Squad-wise, it's much better. Coach-wise, I still prefer Arsene, and to go invincible for me is the greatest feat ever in Premier League history. Not saying it's the best team. I'd say this is a better team, but the invincible feat.
So there you go. But just, is this a better team? That's not yes or no.
It's a better team, 100%. It's not a better feat though.
I'd agree with that as well. A better feat, like they did get 5 more points than the Invincibles. So if they're up against each other, this Chelsea teams win the league. So yeah, my final verdict: Chelsea 04-05, extremely underrated. Like not talked about enough.
Yeah, definitely underrated. What team? Right, everyone. Thanks for watching. This one was a bit longer than usual. Yeah, but come on, we had to pay respect to these guys, especially with Jose right now being disrespected this year for what happened at Spurs and everything.
And let us know as well in the comments what teams, managers you might want, like a team from Serie A, from La Liga, comparing teams. Let us know what team you want to see next. Team, manager, player, over, under. It's coming out more regularly now. Let us know. Chelsea 04-05, overrated or underrated?
Yeah, that's it, boys. Like, if you want even a debate between teams, do you want to compare Invincibles to these? Do you want to compare AC in their prime, early 90s? Because I will defend that team against any in existence of the planet. So just drop it down below, guys. And as always, thanks for watching.
If he hasn't been dogged by so many injuries, well, for me anyways, I think he would have broke Shearer's record.